Agent Romanov. You miss me?
Oh yeah, Charles, we got ourselves an X-Men fan.
Captain.
Your Highness.
Captain, big fan, Spider-Man. Hey everyone.
I love Loki and Sylvie so much. Like, just hearts forever. Like, just so good. It's good. Hey everybody, welcome back to 𝗩𝗲𝗃𝗃𝗀𝗃. I'm your guy, 𝗪𝗏𝗃𝗃𝗀, and today we're breaking down episode 5 of the Loki series. It's hard to believe that we're actually getting to the end of this series, and despite some of the things that I wish were done differently, it's leading up to a pretty interesting climax, and I'm pretty interested to see what is going to happen in the end. If you haven't watched Loki episode 5, why do you keep clicking on these videos? Why do you keep doing it? Go watch it, put it in your save the later list, pause the video, and then come right on back, and we're going to talk about Loki. If you don't care about spoilers, you're like, just give it to me straight. We're going to give it to you straight. This episode was one of the funniest, pretty entertaining. The special effects were incredible, and ultimately a really good time, leading me up to saying I cannot wait till next Wednesday. So let's get started. Loki episode 5 kicks off with us finding ourselves back in the hellscape where Loki was in the end credits scene. He wakes up to find out that there's more of him in all various forms and shapes and sizes. We have old Loki, boastful Loki, kid Loki, and alligator Loki. And this is just like, because everything's been so intense, it's actually really humorous, because Loki's like, you know what, honestly, if there's a freaking alligator, that's not even a surprise anymore. And Loki's just owning up that reality is, in New York, I was like about to take over the world with a scepter and aliens. I got taken here, and there's sacred timeline and timekeepers, and all this stuff is going on. And then I meet this girl Loki, which I'm kind of into, which is kind of weird because she's kind of me, but I'm like into it. And then the TVA is bad, and now there's an alligator Loki. Because why not? Why not? That's just the way it's going. Then we hop back over to the TVA, where we do have Sylvie and Ravonna. As you remember from last episode, Sylvie totally the timekeeper's head, which revealed that timekeeper's her robots, which was surprising to no one, because we never really thought timekeepers were real. At least I didn't. And Sylvie's like, I'm gonna straight up make you tell me everything you know. And we find that the Ravonna maybe is not as in the know as we first thought, which is kind of interesting. So is she just as time wiped as anyone else? Clearly she's more committed to what's happening, and perhaps she has more selfish reasonings behind like what she's doing, but she seems to be in the dark about this whole timekeeper being a fake thing as well, which would make sense with some of the ways she's acted with their reactions, or like even her interactions with Mobius in previous episodes. But once again, I wouldn't trust Ravonna. That girl can't be trusted. She ain't loyal, yo. And that was one thing that I thought was interesting. Sylvie seemed to be willing to trust her because all these variants have been kind of tricked. But Ravonna was the one that was trying to get rid of you, like when you were a child. And as they start to try to dig into files, you could kind of tell that Ravonna's stalling for time for, of course, TVA soldiers to show up and take care of Sylvie. They try to access like files with Miss Minutes. The one thing that Ravonna communicated to Sylvie is that there is a void area that we send, because we can't completely get rid of matter, so we throw them into this like void timeline area, which I guess that's a convenient plot point, because what does that even mean? But of all the things that Sylvie could clearly see that Ravonna's not trustworthy, it betrays Sylvie immediately. She believes that the pruning does indeed not kill them, because that's a pretty big leap. Because Sylvie's like, I'm going to prune myself. Does. And I guess you just hope that that's the one thing that Ravonna was telling the truth about. Perhaps. Maybe. Honestly, because Sylvie had not just enchanted her mind or like looked into her mind and gotten a lot more of this information. Let me said, Sylvie does indeed prune herself and finds herself in the hellscape. We hop back over to the Lokis, and they start interacting about what's going on. They talk about this Alioth void that's basically destroys the branching timelines that comes here. So I guess it can destroy matter. I guess. I don't know. Why is there always a big cloud? There's always mean clouds in these stories. Like, what was it? Fantastic Four, evil cloud. Green Lantern, evil cloud. Here, evil cloud. Watch out for clouds. They're scary, yo. Scary cloud. It's not scary, though. Clouds aren't scary. But it was kind of cool looking cloud, if I'm being honest. So he's talking to these Lokis. They're talking about how their lives went differently. One kid killed Thor, which you look at him like, I guess so. He doesn't look very scary, but whatever. And they have an alligator who probably ate a cat or something, and then you have boastful Loki, who's kind of lying. We don't really know what's going on. And they have old Loki. I really liked old Loki, and obviously there's more to him as this episode goes on, but he seems to be the wisest of the Lokis, the ones who's probably as close to where Tom Hiddleston's character development is, where he, instead of getting by Thanos, he actually escaped and hid in solitude for many, many years. We also find out that he's pretty stinking powerful. During this sequence, another set of Lokis show up, and there's a whole Loki showdown. There's like an arm that gets, or hand gets chopped off. I was like, bro, that's like low-key violent for Disney. Okay. And this scene was kind of a throwaway. Like, all this, honestly, didn't fruition to anything. It's just Loki's betraying Loki's. I guess that's the run of the mill of what a Loki is. But it's kind of where Tom Hiddleston's Loki is making the point that Sylvie is clearly different. This Lady Loki is clearly different than the run of the mill Lokis that is even in this interaction. And he convinces old Loki, young kid Loki, and alligator Loki. Can you convince alligator Loki, or is he just being carried around? Maybe alligator Loki was vehemently opposed to the idea, and he had no choice but to be carried. I guess he could bit someone. Anyway, he's along for the ride.
Before we continue our video, I just want to let you guys know that we have a really cool Instagram that updates on a regular basis. So if you like all things Marvel, this is the Instagram for you. So go follow that 𝗪𝗲𝗃𝗃 Instagram right now. You won't regret it, I promise you. Seriously, open Instagram right now and click that follow button. Now back to the video.
We hop back over, Sylvie's in the void, and she gets picked up by Mobius! Yes, yes, yes. Owen Wilson for the win. You can't kill Owen Wilson. You don't do it. He's too big of an actor. We knew he was coming back. But Mobius and Sylvie exchange pleasantries. They kind of say sorry because Mobius was so in belief of what he was doing, which is actually really cool. Like, you really get the idea that Mobius is willing to change, but it was a lot to say, I dedicate my life to this, and then all of a sudden, it's not true. And he said, we're actually not too different, Sylvie, you and I, because we both were so driven by purpose, and their purposes have changed even so slightly. Sylvie's a lot more interested about who is behind this than just taking down the TVA solely, although that is a big point still to happen. They eventually meet back up, Sylvie, Loki, Mobius, and the other Lokis to concoct the plan of how to take down 𝗪𝗲𝗃𝗃, this evil horse cloud, skull cloud thing. What I also like about this is we clearly see the chemistry between Loki and Sylvie, and the acting is really well done. Like, they haven't been on screen that much together. This relationship's relatively new, but I want it. Like, I want them to be together. Like, even though they're the same Lokis, and it seems kind of weird, it seems real, and it seems like their situations have brought them together to kind of fall in love, and I'm here for it. Like, I'm a sap, yo. Like, I just like that stuff, and it's so cute, and it makes me like worried that they're gonna try to pull something on me, like, and Sylvie dies at the end. Do not do that. Do not. I'm also concerned, if I had to be honest, like, MCU's kind of strategy with these shows is for them not to be necessary to see for future movies, but I don't want Loki and Sylvie not to come back. Like, I just want them forever. Like, don't get rid of them, please. All I said, they concoct a plan that apparently Sylvie, during her little escape from the void earlier with Mobius, she slightly connected with it, and she realizes that I can indeed enchant it, and her plan is so good because she's like, hey, guess what, besides trying to kill it, which is a ridiculous plan, and I love that exchange because it's pretty humorous, there seems to be something behind the void. This is like a barrier to whoever's behind all this, which I want to say it's Kang the Conqueror, but I don't know anymore. Maybe it's another Loki, for all I know at this point. It's all Lokis. There's a ton of Lokis. What's the running count of Lokis? There's a lot of Lokis in the show. This one interaction was kind of interesting. So Loki decides to stay with Sylvie to enchant the creature and try to get to who's at the bottom of this. And they give the temp pad that Sylvie brought to Mobius to go back to the TVA. And it's all nice because they're hugging. They're like, oh, we're just such good friends. But what the heck is Mobius going to do at the TVA? They already pruned him once. Like, what? Like, now that he's come back from the pruning, maybe that's what it is. He's come back from the pruning. A, shows the pruning doesn't get rid of them. And B, Mobius is with knowledge about the TVA. But I don't know how Ravonna doesn't shut that down real quick. We'll see. I mean, they pruned him once. They're not going to prune him again? It leaves us with Sylvie and Loki going on to take on 𝗪𝗲𝗃𝗃, the cloud monster, and to enchant it to find its secrets or whatnot. And Loki tries to distract it. It's not going well. It looks like the cloud monster is about to get Sylvie. And we got old Loki to show back up again. He clearly has character development and is as close to Loki as possible. One thing that I really like that I haven't mentioned yet is that Loki and Sylvie do have an interaction where he explains, like, I'm different now. Like, what I thought would bring me glorious purpose and happiness, it's not going to. And now he's committed to wherever this change of his heart is going, he's willing to go with it, and he wants Sylvie to be there with him. And this is actually something that old Loki is somewhat experienced, maybe not in the love component, but he realized that his glorious purpose was ridiculous. Now, what's also cool about old Loki is he's ridiculously strong. For the first time we saw what a full Loki ability person can do, and he raises up a whole freaking Asgard, like, and it's awesome. You're like, well, that was ridiculously cool. And he distracts the clown monster, sacrifices his life. It's a fitting end, and he yells glorious purpose in the end. Glorious purpose, glorious purpose. And his helmet tumbles to the side, but it was enough for Loki and Sylvie to enchant the cloud monster, and we see a mansion in the distance of where we assume we will discover the origin of the TVA, who's behind all this. And I don't think we'll necessarily get to see it. I do think we'll get what is indeed, like, who is actually behind it, but we'll see that in a movie later on. Because you can't bring anyone super significant in these series because of the strategy. All that being said, this episode was entertaining. The special effects were incredible. It's Marvel Cinematic Universe movie top tier effects. And the acting is so well done. Sylvie and Loki make me care. Mobius makes me care. I care about what happens to them. I want them to fall in love. I want Mobius to get what he deserves and, like, taking down the TVA, maybe taking over a better version of the TVA. Maybe that will happen. Although there's a lot of questions going in episode 6, so episode 6 has a lot of weight to carry. That being said, I'm also very interested to see it. It's a good show. Like, I like it. As much as I don't like episode 3, even this one took place in one area, at least things were happening and progressing us down the story. All that being said, thank you guys so much for watching. If you liked episode 5, let me know in the comments below. And if you like this video, give it a thumbs up, because it helps us here. And we're trying to give you this content on the daily. All that being said, thanks so much for watching. And until next time, I will see you later for the finale of Loki episode 6. Woo!